Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Chat Inbetween podcast. And this is another getting to know you chat. And we are with Gabe Norris tonight.
Hello.
Woo! One of our young people and my son. But we thought tonight that we could get to know you a little bit better, Gabe. Gabe has been an amazing help during COVID. He's been part of the online worship team in the tech side, and he did some youth work stuff with us early on, and he's been just a great help, actually, and he's been an amazing help to me as a dad and as the minister of the church. So we thought we would welcome him onto the podcast today. Are you all right, Gabe? How's life?
Good. Life's all right.
Yeah? How are you doing in lockdown 3?
It's okay, but it's mostly like online school and stuff. So
Yeah.
like it's mostly on a screen and in my room and stuff like that.
And how's that going? Are you coping with it all right, or is it tough, or how are you finding it?
I'm doing all right, but I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go back like into school.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So if you're going to say one thing that you've missed most about life in general or school during lockdown, what would you say that is?
I think mine would just be seeing like all my friends,
Right.
because like most of my friends don't go to my school, so I don't see them like online or like in
Yeah.
like online classes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like catch up with all of them. You know what I mean?
Whereas prior to that, you were just mingling on the street.
Yeah, prior to that, I would, especially in the summer, like
Getting up
or
to
like
no
in nice
good.
weathers, I was like
Yeah.
chilling out with like all of them and stuff.
Getting up to no good.
Some good.
Smoking, boozing.
Mhm.
No, he's a good Nazarene. Thank
Yes.
you. No, I can see that. I think for everybody, there's been things during COVID that people have missed out on. And I think for your age, particularly as teenagers, I think
Yeah.
I think that's a massive thing for you guys. A developmental time when you're just together, enjoying each other's company, making friends, breaking friends, finding friends, whatever. And it's massive at 14, 15, 16 years old. So I can totally understand that. So, well, it's good to have you here, and it's good to have you in the In Between podcast. So we are going to go for it. All right, Gabe? Let's
Yes.
get to know Gabe a little bit better. So, Gabe, have you got any phobias? Have you got any phobias?
I used to. I used to be really scared of heights, and yeah, it was mostly heights. But like now, I'm not really that bothered. I don't really have anything that I'm like really scared of. Like some people are scared of like spiders and snakes, but they don't really bother me that much.
No, no. So the heights thing, is that thing because maybe you just don't go there anymore? You just don't go to the heights?
I think it was
Test
more of
that out.
I think it was more of like when I was up there, it was the fear of falling, not getting to the top.
Right.
So like now I have like I know for sure that I'm like safe. So like when I'm climbing a cliff or like up a tree or something like that, like I have complete trust in myself. So then it's
Yeah.
like more of a.
And the thing is, you do test this out because you do a little bit of climbing, don't you? So you
Yeah, I
go with
mean
mum.
as much as possible, yeah. And like in like the climbing gyms, you do go quite
Yeah,
high,
you do, yeah.
but yeah, like I used to like really like not like it.
And you've done the Cheddar Gorge, haven't you?
Yeah. I also used to be really scared of like closed spaces as well. So like caving and stuff like that. But I'm not sure how I would go about it now. I reckon I'd be less scared, but I haven't really done it in a while, so I wouldn't really know for sure.
Now, phobias are interesting, aren't they? Because like, where would is that a rational thing, like the fear of heights? I mean, was there a moment where you thought, "Oh, this is not safe"? That's to sort of
Yeah.
embed that phobia.
Yeah, it was more of a rational phobia. So I'll be like, what happens if it falls? Rather than like thinking about the crazy, like non-plausible stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I can remember, when we were on like a Ferris wheel, the one at down in
Yeah.
the harbour side, and you were not happy, but you did it. You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it made me feel uncomfortable, but it wasn't it didn't make me so scared that I wouldn't do stuff.
Like it doesn't just completely paralyze you, was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
You could fight through it.
Yeah, I remember going to Thunderworld with like some of my friends, and there was this ride where it was, do you know like the swings that would spin round?
Yeah.
It was like that, but it goes like up and down levels to like really, really high and then like really like low.
Yeah.
That's kind of when I thought, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it still was like, because you were like on a swing and it felt really
Yeah,
insecure.
so you really tested the edges of your phobia.
Yeah.
But like, say somebody had like a spider on their hand or a snake round their neck, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
really
exactly.
pushed it, and then you discovered that you could
Yeah,
overcome.
it was actually all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is that though. I think if you can put yourself in a position where you can just sort of like slowly grow out of a phobia, it is doable.
Yeah. I,
Some people obviously have deep set phobias that are almost impossible
yeah.
to get out of, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like I've grown out of most of my things that I'm scared of.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So you used to be scared of heights and you used to be scared of small places. So the answer to the question is no, I haven't got any phobia.
Yes. The answer is no.
So awesome. All right, nice one. Thank you, Gabe. So the second question I want to ask is there's this idea in the world that you can have a spirit animal. It's sort of like I think it's from the sort of Native American sort of spirituality of North America and different other, maybe even the Incas and different people like that. Maybe
Harry Potter as well.
who?
Harry Potter as well.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah. So, what would you think be your spirit animal and why?
It seems a bit cliche, but I would say a wolf.
Okay.
I would say a wolf
All right, then explain.
because they can do fine on their own, like they're like capable of being on their own,
Yeah.
like survival, but then they choose to be in a pack.
Okay, nice answer. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And like,
Is that how you see yourself?
yeah. And like, you have like the alpha of the pack who like stays at the back and like makes everyone feel safe. I
And is
kind of,
that you as well?
yeah. So I kind of like to make everyone feel like included and like safe when I'm with them.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Oh,
my,
okay, that's a really amazing one.
yeah. It's more of like the wolf pack rather than the wolf as an individual.
And do you feel like that sort of plays itself out in real life?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you do have those people who are like, who prefer to have like a lead role or like are more confident in like group effort work. And I feel like I quite fit into that.
Is there a downside of being a wolf?
Yeah, because especially like an alpha, like the alpha wolf, because you don't have anyone else to fall back on, if you know what I mean. Because they're like the rock, but like, what if the rock breaks?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so I'll pick a wolf. I think.
Okay.
I think the wolf's like a big, like.
It's a good animal. I mean, it's a strong animal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fierce, isn't it? I mean, they're great, beautiful things. I saw a documentary a few years ago that they'd reintroduce. Wasn't it that there was an area? Was it in America or was it Scotland? And they introduced wolves back into the environment. And because wolves were back into the environment, then that environment, everything changed for the better.
Yeah.
So the rivers started flowing stronger, the flowers started growing, the trees, because the alpha wolf was now again at the top of the tree, of the eco tree.
Yeah.
And it sort of sorted everything out.
We did it in geography, and because we were doing like nature and stuff like that. And so they took out all the wolves, and then the deer population like grew so much that it was uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So because the deer population was so big, like the trees and like the grassland were like wasn't as luscious as it would be.
Sort of knocked all the ecosystem out.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, though, isn't it?
I think it was like Yellowstone Park or
somewhere. I think it is. I think it was somewhere in America. I think it was, yeah. But that's such an interesting concept, isn't it? That you can just put one animal back into the ecosystem, and it can just make everything else.
Yeah, it's like one slight change completely topples it.
And the opposite's true as well, isn't it? You take something out, and that's sort of finely balanced, nature, amazing environment, all of a sudden just go skew whiff, just slightly off.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about most of nature is it is perfectly perfect. You know what I mean? So like everything works like with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, in its right place. When it's all
Yeah.
working, it works amazingly.
And usually when it doesn't work, it's because of humans. So,
Sadly, I think you're right. Sadly, I do. I agree. We have this way of, we're earth wreckers, aren't we?
yeah.
We've sort of somehow become bloated, or like somehow become like an exaggerated form of what we should have been. And we
Yeah.
sort of like put everything out of its place. I mean, you see like the endangered list in Africa and all those wonderful
Or
animals.
like the whales in like tiny aquariums and stuff like that.
Yeah, just for our entertainment.
Yeah.
Some folly, a little bit of scientific research, but really what we want is to see a whale balance a ball on its nose.
Yeah, I mean, like
That's
zoos are
what we want.
great, but they're not at the same time. I feel like the whole facade of a zoo kind of overpowers like.
Well, yeah, and it's weird that because we've got guinea pigs. Sorry, Ebby, if you're watching this, don't be too scared, because that was Ebby's phobia. Yeah, well, rats and anything like rodent without a tail. So, but just the mention of the word guinea pigs, that Ebby's at home like, oh. But today, because we've got guinea pigs, I just thought, they don't know any different. Of course they don't. But me looking in, I thought, it's a bit tight, really, isn't it? We've got them in this cage.
Yeah, but if we let them go, they'll probably die quick anyways.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Brilliant. So, spirit animal, wolf.
Wolf.
Doing well, so no phobias. Spirit animal, wolf. Next question. What is the song that would come on if you put the needle down on the record, or you pressed play on your CD player, or you pressed go on your Spotify, or said to Alexa, Alexa, next song? What would it be?
Are we saying the best song I've ever, or is it just right now?
It's really up to you.
I'll give you two songs. So
Okay.
my most song ever is Redbone by Childish Gambino.
Okay,
Because...
let me get this if I can on this.
Okay.
Because people won't know it. And then I just need to change a few things. I forgot to do it. Oh no, it's okay. How do you spell it? Red?
Redbone. Redbone.
Oh yes, Childish Gambino. Here we go. Can you hear that?
I can, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know it. You know it as soon as it kicks in.
Well, it's because I have literally played it on repeat for like 3 years.
True. Now, if people didn't know, Gabe's upstairs in his bedroom. He does live with us. We haven't farmed him out.
Like I'm in a distant. I'm not that old. And that's my favorite song, just because.
Okay, why is that your favorite song?
That's my favorite song.
Yeah.
Because it's really simple when you strip it back, but because there's so many layers, every time you listen to it, it's like listening to it for the first time.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, that's amazing. Everyone, it's just amazing. That's incredible sort of moment for a musician or a creative. It's for me, that would be something like by Pink Floyd. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where it's so multi-layered, and then the next time you hear it, you think, "Oh, I've never heard that before," or "I've never seen that before." Yeah.
And then my favorite song right now, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But I'll try and read it out. It's by Frank Ocean, who's like honestly one of the greatest artists of my generation. Just like lyrics and like the whole, and it's called Siegfried or Siegfried.
Oh, Siegfried.
Seig.
Seig.
Fried.
Siegfried.
Yeah.
Not unusual. Siegfried. It's a name, isn't it? Here we go. So this is Frank Ocean, Siegfried. Is it a slow burner at the beginning?
Slow burner at the beginning, yeah.
Been living in an idea
You missed out my favorite line. It's right at the start, and it goes like basically it's my favorite song at the moment because it's really lyrical at the start, so very poetic. So the starting line is like the markings on your face, the speckles under your eyes, something, and how he describes what freckles look like.
Okay.
Poetic.
Yeah.
However, it finishes just repeating like the theme that goes throughout the song. So it finishes with "I'll do anything for you," which kind of like shows it's complicated at the start, but then he really strips it back at the end and really pushes.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
And then that journey is really beautiful.
Do you think Frank Ocean's spirit animal is a wolf? I'm only joking. You know, I'll do anything for you.
Yeah, and that's probably why like I really connect with it because I really hold like relationships very dearly.
Yeah.
Like I'll be there and like I want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's great. It's got a nice vibe to it.
I mean that whole album I could recommend for years. It's no skips at all, and
which is rare for a young person. It's rare to have an album with no skips.
And
I think one of the things that happens in a lot for young people now is because they've got so much quick access to singles.
Yeah, 100%.
You can just go zip. I mean, one of my things, I don't know if you remember, but in the car traveling, everyone's like, get to the end of the song. We are not moving it on until the song finishes. That's been one of my mantras all the way through our lives.
See,
no, can't skip it. Daisy, no, keep it on that. Even Bethany's like, oh, can I have the next song on? And you're like, no, wait till the end of the song. It's important.
As I've gotten older and more into like my music and like vinyl and stuff like that, I've really appreciated more like full albums.
Yeah.
And like, especially Frank Ocean.
Because you're too lazy to get out of bed and change the needle?
A bit, yeah. But my usual rule is if it's a good album,
yeah.
If I could buy it and play it with no skips, if I could buy it as a vinyl and play it on a record player, it's top.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we went to Scotland skiing a few years ago, and on the way home, we decided to listen to the top 10 albums of all time. And I think, do you remember it? I think it was the Rolling Stone, because it was like an 8-hour drive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we thought, we'd give that a go. And what was amazing about that was some of the albums we listened to, Queen, the Rolling Stones, whatever, some of the songs were absolutely bob. They weren't good. You had the absolutely amazing songs that we all know and love that were charts hits for the Rolling Stones, for Queen. But actually, some of those albums have got some...
Yeah, especially with Queen as well, that they were really inconsistent.
Yeah.
So they only had two bangers on an album, and then
I think that was the case back in the day. I think people were more single orientated because that's where a lot of the money was.
Yeah,
because you could get 2 million record sales from a single. So they focused on some bangers and then some fillers.
Yeah, see, that's the thing as well. It's like, if it's, for me, it's still no skip, but there's obviously some songs that are weaker than others, but yet they still are really good songs.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it must be. I mean, to get a complete album must be so difficult. 10 songs.
Yeah, and also
great,
people write them in. People take like a year and a half to write one, but then some people take like 6 months, and it's kind of like, I feel like that's like a creative thing as well. So it's how easy you are just to write a song.
Yeah, 100%. It's so talented, so talented. So that was Siegfried by Frank Ocean, current favorite, and
Redbone
by Childish Gambino. Let's have a listen to that again, just quick. What it sounds like.
Go to like the middle of the song. It's also like the bass line, how it like pushes you along.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
a good vibe to it. You can't not nod your head to this one. Yeah,
and it's kind of like a funk type. It's a funk type like bass line, but then it's quite a simple, like a marching band, quite drum.
Yeah.
It's driving in the car in the countryside, pitch black, you and the lights and the small roads, and it's just you listening to music. That's kind of what.
That's a good vibe. That's a good vibe. Yeah, that's a great song. He's a great artist as well. Super talented human being, isn't he?
Again,
Actor,
that
director,
whole album,
writer.
I could listen to with no skips all the way through.
Nice one. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so next question for you, Gabe. Who is your favorite biblical character? But you're not allowed to say the Lord Jesus.
No, I say Jesus.
No.
So this week, well, you obviously asked me to come on this, and you asked me to think about it, and I had to think, like, proper think about it.
Good.
And I picked Ezekiel.
All right. Okay, that's a good one.
And I feel like people don't really like talk about Ezekiel as much.
Yeah.
And as I was like researching it and like trying to really understand it, I watched one of the Bible Project's videos. Just a little name drop.
Oh yeah.
And
unbelievable. They are great.
I feel like I like him because he was obviously cast out as one of like when Babylon took over Jerusalem, and he had like a vision of like the priests and stuff worshipping idols in the temple, and he saw God's like vibe, the God's atmosphere move away from the temple and go out of Jerusalem.
Okay. Yeah,
and then realized that like he needs to go back and like bring it back. However, God told him that wouldn't work at the start.
Yeah.
But then Ezekiel kept going.
He persevered. Yeah.
And he persevered. And he knew he needed to first off witness the destruction of Jerusalem, but then start the rebuild of Jerusalem as well.
Nice. Yeah.
And I thought, and that's why I kind of vibe with Ezekiel.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. Yeah. I think that's the thing if you forget sometimes about these prophets is the perseverance, like the rest of the nation is got PTSD. The rest of the nation are just in Babylon. They're broken and they don't really feel like fighting for this religion.
Yeah, I also feel like the prophets, they have something there, like a fire. Like they could easily be overwhelmed by the mistakes and the sins that the Israelites had. So like Moses, for example, when he was like threatened to like be put to death because people wanted to go back to Egypt. Yeah, he called out and asked for help on the mountain, and still persevered in like a hardship.
Yeah, there's some sort of like you say, fire deep within.
Yeah,
that sort of powers them and empowers them to carry on, whether it's good or bad or whatever the circumstances. They just fight through and get through.
Yeah, and also I feel like the Babylonians are kind of like not really talked about as much as like the Egyptians. So like people talk about how the Egyptians did all this and did all that, but
the Egyptians are cooler though, eh?
Babylon's
it might just be that, you know what I mean? The Egyptians are cool. They've got the pyramids and they've got the hieroglyphics and they've got all that cool stuff going on. And maybe it's just an interesting culture.
Yeah, but
we don't really know much about the Babylonians.
That's probably why they're more cool, because you don't really know. Like they're an underrated evil character in the Bible.
Yeah, and the truth is, they're not that evil, really, are they? I mean, they just won the victory.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, in the sense of they were just doing what everybody else did at the time, overrun other nations and like we still do it now, don't we? We still, globally, we're still doing it. The tribes are fighting and we're trying to get money or gold or whatever. So the Babylonians, they're just doing their job, aren't they? Yeah. But yeah, I like that. The most underrated evil character.
The underrated villain.
Yeah, and then in the middle of all that, you've just got these people who are steadfast, have got a vision, and want to re-engage the people with God's presence because they see that as the answer of getting them out of Babylon.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good one. Ezekiel's good. Nice one. Good choice. Good thing.
He doesn't really get picked that much. He doesn't really get talked about.
No, I think these things come and go. I think certain fashions around it, and what you find from my end is you get certain vibes and certain rhythms. So a couple of years ago, it was definitely going back to Jesus, who Jesus is. Let's rediscover who Jesus is. And so I preach on that for a series, but then I'd find out like the Baptist church down the road were doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
And St. Mark, the parish church, somehow in the ether of spirituality, we were all sort of talking about the same thing. I think that's quite interesting. But yeah, no, Ezekiel, yeah. Nice, good choice. Good choice. All right. We're going to keep on the church theme, Gabe. What is your favorite worship song? Have you got a song that's your favorite one?
I don't really listen to worship music that much, to be honest.
No.
But I feel like, I was baptized in My Lighthouse. That's a pretty good one. And I don't mind Waymaker. That one's pretty good.
See, because we're playing My Lighthouse now, we're definitely going to get demonetized. Whoever the Wren Collective holds the copyright, they've got little robots in cyberspace, and they are one of the worst.
It's probably Sony, to be honest.
I think it is. I'm all Universal. It's not the Wren Collective's fault, of course. But anytime I do a live, anytime I do anything with Wren Collective, a lyric video, within seconds, it's like, you've been copyrighted. Anyway, here's My Lighthouse. It's a good choice. Good vibe there, innit? Soul Survivor with Ryan and the team and the youth.
Yeah. Oh, the greatest era of the youth of all time.
Yeah. And then the drums kick in. Nice. So what is it about that song that you love?
I feel like it is the music bit of it. But like the lyrics wise, I think it's like, because it's almost saying like, in my ups and downs, there's still a place where I can go to gravitate myself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes you can get overwhelmed and in life, so sometimes it's always good to be like, oh, like he's still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the concept of lighthouses themselves are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just this beacon, like, I don't know. Again, I saw a documentary about, I think it was one of Brunel's ones, and was it a film? I can't remember. And it was about building it in the sea, with the, like back in the day, in the Victorian times when they made these things, they had to go out and actually build the lighthouse. There's one lighthouses or a few that are actually in the sea, and it was the story about how they built it. But absolutely treacherous, because of the storms and the winds. But then slowly but surely, this lighthouse appears in the sea. Yeah. They're great, aren't they? Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, what was your next one?
What did I say? I think I said Waymaker. Did I say Waymaker? Yeah, I did.
Why Waymaker then?
I'm not really sure. But do you know when there's just a song that you're just like, yeah, that's a good song? Or like the power behind it is good.
The vibe of it is really good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting sung worship because I think different cultures of Christianity get it more. And I also think different generations get it more.
Yeah.
It really is a way of music, and they're using it to connect us in an emotional way with the presence of God. I mean, the danger of that, sometimes maybe it feels a bit manipulative. When you're at a concert and, where I don't know whoever, Bethel or whatever we've been to, the music's amazing. The professionalism's amazing. The quality's amazing. And sometimes you might just get swept away in the sort of like creative emotion.
I mean, there was a time where like they were releasing like worship songs as like pop songs, like trying to get into like the pop. And then they weren't good, to be honest. They were awful. But I feel like now with like Bethel and like Hillsong, they have really stripped it back to Jesus, God, sing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that, for me, Matt Redman and people, as long as the people who are playing it are focused on worship and are worshiping, then how we respond to that is our responsibility. But as long as the group that is Hillsong or Bethel or Rend, if they are a worshipping community on that stage, then that is a legitimate thing. And then we then need to take responsibility for our own worship in that moment.
Yeah.
To test it in the sense of, if this song creates that swell of emotion, am I pointing that to God? Or am I just enjoying the moment like being at a Coldplay concert?
Yeah.
You can just enjoy worship songs for the sake of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, there isn't a bad thing about just being swept in the atmosphere of like a concert, because then it's really memorable.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you remember the feeling of being at a concert.
Yeah.
But then you also remember the song, and then that points you to
God. Yeah. Oh, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. It gives you that, because we've been to a few down here. We went to a Hillsong one, a Bethel one. They are extraordinary. They're really good moments. They're memorable worship moments, aren't they? So it points you to God. Okay, that is wonderful. Thank you, Gabe. 2 great answers. So next, what, in your opinion, is the best movie ever made? Now, this is your subjective opinion, so you don't have to go to the top 10 of best movies ever made. This is for you. What is your best movie ever made?
maybe Hot Fuzz.
Okay, Hot Fuzz. Nice.
I would say a movie geek, because we would be watching a movie and then I'd be like, oh, that was a great cut shot, or like I would just like say it just because I'm interested in stuff like that. And Edgar Wright, especially with like Simon Pegg, and it, like the comedy perfectly fits with like the way the director shoots it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then that's probably why. Another one is called Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Okay, I've never heard of that one.
And that's not really like, that's just the story, and like the acting is just really beautiful. And like the twist at the end, and
the perks of being a wolf.
Yeah. It has Emma Watson in it. And also has what's his name? The guy who's the Flash in the Justice League. Ezra Miller.
Oh, Ezra Miller. Yeah, I know him. I know. Never heard of him.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's quite a cool looking independent flick.
Yeah. And I could watch that any day of the week.
That's so interesting. We've never seen it, or I've never watched it with you. That'll be good.
Also, National Treasure. Just to name a few.
Nicolas Cage, National Treasure.
Cage. That's a good
He's
movie.
only saying it because he knows it's me.
I mean, it is a good movie.
It is a good movie. It is
pretty timeless. But the second one's a bit...
No, it's not as good. Always stick with the first one.
Yeah.
So Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
At this moment in time in your life is your favorite movie of all time.
It'll be... Perks Being a Wallflower would be above Hot Fuzz, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But like Hot Fuzz for like more of like the direction and like the cuts and like how it's framed, rather than the movie itself.
If people do know Gabe a little bit, but you've done a few little movies now, like
I've done
extended extra stuff.
Yeah, and just the background.
So when you've done those things and you've been involved, the White Princess and the In Pursuit of Love is the one you've been involved with. It has that sort of like captured your love of movies, like seeing behind, or has it sort of like a bit like the Wizard of Oz when the curtains and it's just some old dude? Has it sort of ruined the movies?
No, it doesn't ruin it all, because I kind of know how much work goes into it.
Yeah. And
especially like Hot Fuzz, for example, like the writing that had to go on before that, how the camera moves perfectly fits with the jokes, and like the certain sentences are like repeated throughout the movie, and like foreshadowing is just that's that takes a long time. So like, I really appreciate the effort
process.
behind it.
Yeah, because I think sometimes for most of us in this world, we just consume other people's process, but we don't really understand the process.
Yeah,
I
and
think
also
sometimes
like,
it is good to learn about, even whether it's music or art or read or anything, the work that goes in to get it on the screen is phenomenal.
I mean, it's because I've seen the background, you can really appreciate like how beautiful, like even like a comedy chick flick, it still is like a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's sort of been birthed into being, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, because that's what, when we first went to behind the scenes, the amount of people behind the scenes on a big production is, from the security guard to the chefs to the makeup to the lighting to whatever. It is a unbelievable thing, isn't it, Gabe?
Yeah.
It really takes you back. Like the first time we did it, the when we went to Wales,
like this many people.
like what? You just thought it would be like one guy with a microphone, one guy with a camera.
Yeah.
No idea.
So there were, so you think there'll be like 10, 15 people, but there's actually 60, 70 people.
Yeah. It is good. Very good to see. Oh, that's good. So, perks of being a wallflower. If you haven't seen it, Gabe recommends it.
Recommend it. It's very good.
And if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz,
it may make you cry.
Friend of this podcast.
Yes, true. Perks of being a wallflower is like a sad movie, but like you get a good feeling at the end.
Yeah, okay. And then Hot Fuzz is just hot.
It's just funny all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. We love Hot Fuzz. Okay. So, next question. You've committed a terrible crime. And for this crime, you've been sentenced to death. What is your last 3-course meal, Gabe? What is your last 3-course meal?
For a starter, the start is the tricky one.
Okay.
Start is the one because what do you like? How do you categorize a starter? Like, is it like a small thing or can it be like a big thing?
Hey, it's your last meal. You go whatever you want.
Subway.
A what?
A foot-long Subway.
A foot-long Subway to start. And what is the filling?
I'm a connoisseur when it comes to Subway. I genuinely believe I've made the best tasting Subway ever.
Okay. Describe.
So, Italian bread.
Check.
Chicken and bacon or spicy Italian. But I go for spicy Italian, which is like salami, pepperoni, and like another one. And then cheese toasted, of course. Then lettuce, red peppers, sweet corn, jalapenos, olives.
Yeah.
And then chipotle sauce and a quick of sweet onion.
Nice. Okay. Foot long.
And when I tell you it is beautiful, it's beautiful.
Okay, that's your starter. Main course, Gabe.
Main course. Again, it's a tricky one because there's so many options. Might have to go for like a KFC.
Okay, brilliant.
Would I go for a KFC? Yeah, I'll go for a KFC.
A big bucket of KFC to go with your foot-long sub.
I would get a rice box, a KFC rice box. Very nice. See, I don't really like rice. I don't like rice, but like KFC rice.
All right, okay.
And
so
then,
you're going for a foot-long sub.
Yeah.
You're going for a rice box from KFC.
And spicy wings.
With spicy wings. Done.
Anything chicken is nice.
All right.
Then for a dessert, banoffee pie.
Ooh.
Or carrot cake.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah, I like a good carrot cake. Yeah. A nice one, not a dry one, but one that's really nice and just
but not too moist.
Yeah, not too much, but just in between. Yeah. And then that nice stuff on the top.
Yeah, but not too much of that.
Yeah.
Too much of that is sicky.
Okay. So a foot-long sub, a rice box from KFC, and banoffee pie. or a carrot cake?
Or carrot cake, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, good choice. Well done. That sounds really delicious.
It's very delicious.
All right, then. So what do you love about church? What do you love about church? Not necessarily our local church, but what do you just love about the idea of church? What has church brought to you?
I feel like community. That's kind of like a big word that comes out of it, because you have people to rely on, or like people to fall back onto.
Yeah.
So like you can reach out and you know that there's someone there that can help.
Yeah.
And then like just the togetherness is just really good. And like you can see it in lots of churches, because like all the connections that you can make from churches is very like good for yourself.
Yeah. So what are the benefits of being in a community of faith? What do you I hear that togetherness thing, but what does that look like? I mean, how have you experienced that yourself?
I've like, especially in our church, there's lots of people that are like my second mums.
No, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think it's just someone that I could like ask for help.
Yeah.
And then they'll happily help. Or like
Yeah.
if I needed to like sleep over at their house, they'll be like, yeah, all right then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Why would you want to sleep over at their house?
I don't know.
Well, how does that scenario play out?
Well,
What have
like
you
it's
done?
like the house burns down.
Oh, right. Okay. I see.
Yeah, so like you will go to like a hotel and I'll be like, nah, I'm going to so and so.
Ex's house. Oh, that's really lovely though. I think that's really true. Because one of my big things is about celebrating church, and I don't think we celebrate it enough. I don't think we sing it praises enough for the people in it. Often, I think there's quite a lot of presumption around it. We're just there. You get the benefits of it and all that community and togetherness. But actually, I think sometimes, especially in this world where there's so much loneliness and there's so much isolation, and it's well known the stats are massively high, and yet it seems somehow that church isn't on a lot of people's books. Like it doesn't even seem to be an option. But what you're saying is it's one of the very places in the world where you can find community and friendship and togetherness.
And also it's probably because like I've always grown up in a church, so then I'm more comfortable there.
Yeah. Breaking into that community might.
Some people do really struggle with like sitting with people that they don't really know. And I could completely understand. It's maybe my idea of like a community, it might be a lot different in a different church because I haven't been there the whole time.
Yeah.
But like because I was brought up there, it's been a lot.
Maybe people feel quite daunted then about crossing the threshold.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel it's a little bit of a closed shop, or maybe they feel like they're not going to be welcomed, but actually once you're in and you're sat there, and there is a time of growth, there is a time where people have to sort of embed themselves into the community. It's not just a quick thing where you just jump in. It's like, hi. Well, some people's personality might be like that, but most people have to have a journey to where your journey has been a lifelong one up to now because you were born into it. But maybe new people just breaking in and dropping in, maybe they just need to give it time and need to give it, and maybe they think that's too much, or maybe that, I don't know. It's just very interesting to me because, like I say, I want to celebrate this thing because it is an awesome place once you're in. Like-minded people that think the same and believe the same, have a vision for each other and a vision for the world that is really positive. So why wouldn't you want to be in a place like that?
Yeah.
It's always sort of like intrigued me. Yeah. No, good answer. Community and togetherness. Thank you. All right. So this Saturday, you're 18 years old now and you've bought a lottery ticket. And you've done some random numbers on this ticket, Gabe. You just thought, you know what? I'll give it a punt. My dad gave me £2 and I'm going to spend it on a lottery ticket.
Okay.
So you put your numbers. The next day you wake up, you've won 10 million. You're a lottery millionaire.
Okay.
What? And you can be completely selfish about this, or you can just give me your answer. What would you do with that money?
Firstly, I would probably buy myself some clothes. Of course you would. You'd have to, or get like a really expensive ring or like an expensive chain. Not like a over the top one, but kind of like this one, but like really expensive, like weirdly expensive. Or like a watch, or like something subtle, but like overpriced.
Okay.
But then I still have like 9.99 million left.
You've got a lot.
I've still got loads of money.
Yeah.
So then I probably would maybe buy a house and a car. Not a too nice of a car, but just a bog standard, like a Citroen or something.
I'm quite intrigued about this. You keep sort of, deferring back to, like, you keep saying, I'd buy a car, but, it wouldn't be a big one.
Yeah, because like if I buy a Ferrari, first off, it's probably gonna get stolen. Second off, it makes me look like an idiot. It makes you look like a big-headed.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that gets on my nerves. Like people who are really rich who wear like Supreme or like Gucci or
Adidas. Yeah.
But Adidas isn't that expensive. Well, depends on your situation.
I know
but
you. So there's a sprinkling of humility to your choices.
Yeah. It's like I watched a thing where Jay-Z, Kanye West, are they wearing Gucci? And no, they're not, and they're billionaires. But then rappers who only have like a mil are wearing like grills and like loads of chains, and it just makes you look like an absolute
idiot. It's not, those decisions are just not your values.
Yeah, and also probably most of my friends be like, it's fake anyway. But then you're like, no, it's not fake. I'm really rich.
Then you've got to defend your real jewelry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grim.
Now there's a nice sprinkling of humility there, but yeah.
And then I'll probably invest it into a company so I can get more money.
Clever.
Like I'll be quite business minded about it.
All right.
I'll save most of it.
No, because you're a good saver, aren't you? You're not a spend.
Yeah.
You don't spendthrift. You're a saver. You like to sort of keep hold of your.
Yeah. And like, because you're getting old. Not to be rude. So I could give money for like the retirement. Like.
Well, if you won 10 million, I wouldn't have to bother, would I? I could just.
Yeah, true. I would buy you a house.
That's yes.
I'll buy you a house.
Well, you know what I would do with it, and then you could do that. You know what I'd do with my money?
What would you do with your money?
Well, I would go on a year's journey around the world, going to all the big sporting events.
That's a shout.
All the finals. So I would go, I'd start off, I think it's the Super Bowl next week, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl today.
Right. So you'd start off at the Super Bowl, VIP.
Yeah.
You go backstage, meet Tom Brady, and then go and get your popcorn. And then you'd fly, next you'd fly to, I don't know, a test match in Australia, England. Yeah. And then you'd fly to a Grand Prix. And then you'd fly to the Augusta Masters. You go to the Masters, you go to the FA Cup final. Whatever was on in that year, I would, in my money, just go around the world, but following the sport.
Yeah.
Table tennis in China, sumo in Japan.
Or would you go to like some like not weird ones, but like unique ones?
Yeah.
I would travel. I would definitely travel. I would try and go to as many countries as possible.
I just think it would be good to have some focus when you were there.
Yeah.
Rather than just dropping
I would just take my friends and we'll just go skate somewhere.
I wouldn't take my friends. I'd do this by myself.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that get boring?
No.
No.
I'm a millionaire. Imagine who would meet.
Yeah, but then you'd be sad in first class.
No, I would take.
You'd take me.
I'd take you. Yeah.
And
then occasionally, I'd occasionally let Heather and Daisy and Bethany.
Don't let Daisy come. You couldn't understand sports.
I know, but that would be funny. So
yeah, it would.
No, but that's what I would do with my money. So you would bling yourself up, but not too much.
Not too much.
You would buy a house and a car, but not so big and not
So
so
good.
great. And then you would buy into a business and become an investor.
Yeah, and then travel the world.
Sounds like a dream,
Sounds like a dream.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know some people really do get to experience that. It must be an amazing life. Yeah. All right then. Okay, Gabe, you've been an amazing guest. And we're coming up to our last question. So obviously we've had 10 months of COVID. So I want to always end up on an upbeat on these on this podcast. So what out of the last 10 months and maybe the next few months would you like to see continue after the lockdown? What lessons have we learned? What would you like to see continue after lockdown?
I wouldn't say like something happening right now to continue, but like a lesson learned is
Yeah.
to like appreciate the times with people you can't see as much.
Yeah.
So with your friends or with your nan or like with your cousin, like really be present in right now. Because I feel like, especially in Corona, it was like, oh, I so wish it's gone. Or like, I'm so excited for when it's away. Or like, do you remember the time before?
Yeah.
But like, you need to be in the present and see the beauty in this second, this minute, right now.
Yeah. And maybe in the past we just took things for granted.
Yeah, kind of.
Friendships, family.
Yeah, so you were
Enjoy
kind of
those
like,
moments.
what's next? And especially in a world where, especially because of social media and the phone, life goes so quickly
Yeah.
that sometimes you don't have time just to sit and really look at your friends and be like, I really like you and you mean a lot to me.
No, that's great. It's gratitude.
Yeah, and just being thankful for like where you are, even in Corona where it's not the best situation,
Yeah.
like being stuck inside with not be able to be as free as you could be, but yeah, there still is many positives of you being where you are, because there's always a place where you're going to get better or you're going to improve in some way,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe in wisdom or knowledge or how you treat things, or I
Yeah.
don't know, your outlook on life is always going to get better.
I really like that. I like I like that idea that, we were just moving along at a breakneck speed. We drop into people's lives for a day or a couple of days and then whiz off somewhere else. And the danger of that is we don't embed those memories. And I think in the past it was easier to hold on to memories and
Yeah,
to, especially, like snail mail, just a letter, or going to visit relatives, or you might not see them for a month. So when you see them, you were super aware that this was an event
yeah,
and it was a memorable and it was good. So then you held on to those things because you weren't distracted
yeah,
by
yeah,
taking photos, by looking at your Twitter feed or whatever, Snapchat, So there was no distractions in the past from that moment. I like
yeah.
that.
I agree with you. That's
So maybe we were just people who had more gratitude, even though we didn't know it at the time.
yeah, and I think it's like just being there is always good, even if you're not being the loudest or not being the
Yeah.
most like happy or smiley, but as long as you know and your friends know that you're just happy to be there and they mean a lot to you, be happy in the present right now, then that's always a good thing.
And that is a good place to finish this podcast, the Chat in Between. Gabe, thank you for being awesome. Thank you for all the help that you've given us at the church on the online stuff for me. Thank you for being, well, I can't really get rid of it because you're my son, but thank you for all the stuff that you do for me and all the stuff you do for church. And I hope people out there have come to know Gabe a little bit more, a little bit better. Thank you, Gabe. We appreciate you. And we're so glad that you have helped us out. Adios, amigo. We will see you all soon.